Stage 2, press for flight. Go for launch.
T-minus 30 seconds.
Stage 1's at startup pressures.
T-minus 15 seconds.
Falcon 9 is configured for flight.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff. Go Falcon. Go USA.
Vehicle is pitching downrange.
Stage 1 propulsion nominal. Pad operation securing, step section 59 on LVNet.
Power and telemetry nominal.
You are watching the Falcon 9 as it ascends through the
Falcon 9
atmosphere
is
carrying the
supersonic.
SpaceX Starlink payload of satellites. Coming up in just a few seconds here, the vehicle is going to be passing through max Q. That is the point of maximum aerodynamic pressure on the vehicle. Let's listen for that call out.
Vehicle is experiencing maximum aerodynamic pressure.
The vehicle has passed through max Q, which means that the atmosphere is only going to get thinner from here on out. Coming up shortly at T plus 2 minutes and 35 seconds is going to be, or excuse me, T plus 2 minutes and 32 seconds is going to be MECO. That stands for main engine cutoff. That's when those 9 Merlin engines you can see burning on your screen right now will shut off or cut off. Shortly, only a few seconds after that, will be stage separation at 2 minutes and 35 seconds, quickly followed by SES1. That stands for second engine start 1. That's when that single Merlin vacuum engine will ignite after stage separation. All telemetry looks nominal from that first stage right now, and trajectories look good. You can see the exhaust gases of those 9 Merlin engines expanding as it gets further and further up into the atmosphere. Stand by for MECO in about 5 seconds.
Stage separation confirmed.
You can see it on your screen and you can hear it through the cheers of the crowd here at SpaceX headquarters that we just had a good MECO, we had a good stage separation, and we had a good second engine start. That second stage is now burning brightly on the right-hand side of your screen, accelerating the Starlink stack towards its deployment altitude. On the left-hand side of your screen, you can see the view, a view of the Earth, actually, a beautiful view of the curvature of the Earth and all the lights of the eastern seaboard of the United States. That camera on the left-hand side is attached to the top towards the inner stage of the first stage. And on your right, you can see the fairing deploy from that Starlink satellite stack. The crowd here at headquarters cheering. I'm sure everyone up in Redmond is happy too. So at this point in the mission, there are 2 things happening simultaneously. On the right-hand side of your screen, you can see that's the SpaceX Starlink stack right there, now exposed to the vacuum of space that we've jettisoned that payload fairing from the top of the rocket. Right now you can see a view of the bottom of the second stage. That is the Merlin vacuum engine, currently burning brightly, doing its first of 2 burns to raise those satellites up to their deployment altitude of 440 kilometers above the Earth. The next step for this second stage is going to be SECO 1. That's going to happen at 8 minutes and 47 seconds. But while that's happening, we'll be watching the first stage also coming back down towards the surface of the Earth. This will be the 3rd time that we have attempted to recover this first stage, this particular first stage. Those of you who have seen previous landing attempts may notice that we are not doing a boost back burn today. This is because boost back burns are typically used to cancel out the horizontal velocity of a first stage as it goes away from the launch pad and then bring it back towards the Cape. For tonight, we're doing a drone ship landing on Of Course I Still Love You, so we just position the drone ship out in the Atlantic Ocean
Second
and catch
stage is
it
following
at the
an
end of its
optimal trajectory.
No need for a boost back burn here. Without a boost back burn, the next step coming up for the first stage will be the entry burn at T plus 6 minutes and 23 seconds. The entry burn will last for approximately 20 seconds and then shut down. And then after that, we'll be heading towards a landing burn. All telemetry looks good from that second stage as it continues to pick up speed towards that intended deployment altitude. So as I said earlier, the first stage is now about to start its entry burn at 6 minutes and 23 seconds. This entry burn is to slow that first stage down just a little bit before it hits the thicker regions of the atmosphere. You can see the camera on the first stage on the left-hand side of your screen right now. It's dark,
Stage
but
1,
in a few
ATS
minutes, those
safe.
Merlin engines at the bottom of that first stage will light up, and there they go.
Stage 1 entry burn has started.
That is the start of the entry burn.
And stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
And that's it. That is the end of the entry burn. The next step for that first stage is going to be the landing burn. You can see some aerodynamic flows past those grid fins right now on the first stage as it gets into the thicker and thicker regions of the atmosphere. Those grid fins help to stabilize the first stage as it heads back down towards the deck of Course I Still Love You.
Stage 1 is transonic.
Also signal stage 1, Cape Canaveral as expected.
All telemetry is nominal on the second stage as it continues to accelerate. Next big thing happening here is going to be the landing burn at T plus 8 minutes and 9 seconds, just about 30 seconds from now. For those of you just joining us, we did have a successful liftoff at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time from Cape Canaveral. The first stage was able to successfully separate and is now heading back for its 3rd landing attempt in its history.
Stage 1 landing burn has started.
The landing burn has started as scheduled. We don't currently have video from that first stage, but stand by. We may be able to get something from the drone ship. Landing burn started at 8 minutes and 9 seconds, and the landing is scheduled for 8 minutes and 30 seconds, just about now. You can tell that here at SpaceX headquarters, we haven't yet gotten any video from the drone ship, but we're just waiting for confirmation.
And this is recovery. Falcon 9 has landed. Landing operators moving to procedure 11.100 on recovery 1 and ECF 9.
While we're waiting for that, we are expecting SECO to happen shortly. That is second engine cutoff.
Back shut down.
It sounds like we may have confirmation that the first stage has landed. That is a shot from Of Course I Still Love You. of the first stage of the Falcon 9 rocket for its third landing.
Nominal parking orbit insertion.
Always great to see those first stages come back. While that was happening, we did have our second engine cutoff one. That's the end of the second stage's first burn. And we did have confirmation of a good orbit for that second stage. Right now, we're about to enter a coast phase, so we are going to take a quick break, but we're going to leave you with an animation that shows where we are in the coast phase. We will be back at about T plus 45 minutes into the mission for a second stage relight, followed by another short coast phase, and then payload deploy. Hopefully we'll be able to bring that deployment to you live on the webcast, so we will see you back here in about 35 minutes. Don't touch that dial. Welcome back to the webcast for the Starlink mission. For those of you just joining us, we did have an on-time liftoff from Cape Canaveral Air Force Station at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time. After that, the first stage was able to take the second stage up into the atmosphere and then return for a third time on the deck of course, I Still Love You. All the while, the second stage was able to complete its first burn, and it is now just about to start its second burn. We have two events coming up here, one at T plus 45 minutes and 56 seconds. That'll be SES-2, or Second Engine Start 2. This is the second of two burns that the second stage will be performing before deploying the payloads at their intended deployment altitude of 440 kilometers above the Earth. So with just about 10 seconds until SES-2, let's watch. This will be a short one, only about 3 seconds of burn.
And back ignition, shut down.
And there it is. That was short and sweet, but that was the second stage's second burn. SECO 2 just commenced. That's the second engine cutoff 2. Just waiting right now for confirmation that the second stage is in a good orbit. And we do have confirmation that the second stage is in a good orbit. So that completes the 2 of 2 burns for that second stage. We are going to go to one more brief coast phase, only about 15 minutes. At about T plus 1 hour and 1 minute, we'll come back to guide you through payload deploy, just 15 minutes from now. Welcome back to the webcast for the Starlink mission. Just for those of us joining us, we did have an on-time liftoff at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time from Cape Canaveral. That first stage was able to accelerate the second stage into orbit and then touch back down on the deck of course, I Still Love You. And then the second stage was able to complete its 2 scheduled burns. The second stage is now currently at the target deployment altitude of 440 kilometers above the surface of the Earth. As you can see on your screen right here, this is a beautiful view of those the stack of those Starlink satellites as they prepare for deployment. Deployment is scheduled for T plus 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Let's stand by and watch. This brief loss of signal was expected. We should be able to get that video back very shortly. Stand by.
Starlink constellation deploy confirmed.
And we have confirmation of deploy. You can hear the team in the background. This is an incredible moment for SpaceX. You can see those flat-packed Starlink satellites slowly gliding away from the top of the second stage. This is the highest number of satellites that SpaceX has ever deployed in a single time. There are no deployment mechanisms between those spacecraft, so they really are just slowly fanning out like a deck of cards into space. You can see those spacecraft starting to separate as they naturally glide away from each other. The sun is glinting pretty strongly off the panels and the bodies of those spacecraft, so it's tough to see them individually, but you can kind of see one breaking away from the pack right now. Those spacecraft will slowly disperse over time. With that successful deployment, we're going to be bringing the webcast to a close. For those of you who just caught the end here, we did have successful liftoff, successful first and second stage and activities, and then finally a beautiful deploy, as you can still see ongoing on your screen right now at 440 kilometers above the Earth. It's been a very exciting launch day today here at SpaceX, but we really are just getting started. Please, thank you to the 45th Space Wing for range safety and to the FAA for licensing today's launch, as well as the FCC for our first operational Starlink satellite licenses. We'd also like to thank all of our viewers for tuning in. Please follow our website and social media platforms for updates on our next missions and milestones. It's been an honor to host tonight's webcast. Have a good night.